The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Café. This is the United Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Friends in Recovery podcast, the podcast that is here to help you, a loved one, or a friend get started down the road to recovery. This is the Friends in Recovery podcast, brought to you by the Genesis House. Genesis House, providing a safe, nurturing environment to heal from addiction since 1992. Please be a friend and share our message with a friend on Podbean, iTunes, iHeartRadio, or YouTube. And now, here are your Friends in Recovery.
Hey, welcome to Friends in Recovery podcast. What is it, the 3rd of December, Ed?
It's the 4th, actually.
The 4th. Oh, my goodness. Where does the time go? We haven't been here for a while, but we're here at the lovely Studio 21 Podcast Cafe with the astute Ed Sullivan, producer,
Thank you.
Director.
And I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, that's not what you said before.
Shop dresser.
That's because we bought you a cigar, I think. That's why.
It is.
So it's good to be back. How you been?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Haven't seen you in a while.
I know. It's been a while.
I know.
Well, what are we going to talk about today? A little bit. We're going to talk about relapse. We have a few things to do, right?
It is the season for relapse, unfortunately, and I think that might be a good subject for today.
Absolutely.
You brought it up earlier, and I think that's something we should definitely talk about and touch on, and maybe what the triggers are and how you can avoid those.
Right. You got a few people you want to mention.
A couple things I want to talk about. Our good old friend Brian Casey out in St. Paul. He's the EAP for the St. Paul Police Department.
Right.
His book is flying off the shelf like hotcakes.
He's an author, right?
He's an author. He's right. He wrote the book, Good Cop, Good Cop. And you can go to goodcopgoodcop.com and get a copy of his book. Every cop should own this. Every cop's family should own this book. It's something even you or I. Well, you're a cop.
I've read it.
Yeah, you read it. But even non-cops, even us civilians, need to read this. There's a lot of good information out in this book.
It's a great book. It really is.
So goodcopgoodcop.com. Get a couple books while you're for a Christmas present.
Well, I just want to mention on the book too is it has a lot about family, which is, I think, very important because, like being in the service, if you're in the service for 20 years and you're married, your family's in the service for 20 years. If you're a police officer for 30 years, 20 years, your family is involved as well. I mean, you're treated differently in society, in your neighborhood, and your kids can be treated differently too, depending on what schools they go to or everything. Yeah. But I think it's very important to say that book is well written. I was a cop 35 years. I've read a lot of police books, and very, very well put together. And I think it has a lot of good family-oriented points of view. And,
absolutely.
And very good. Very good.
Yeah, Brian's a great guy, and I want to thank him for the Christmas tree that he sent me also. I'll tell you that.
Hey, thanks, Brian.
It's a long story. Thanks, Brian. Thanks for the Christmas tree. I love you. The other thing, too, we have a listener out of Toronto, Canada.
Wow.
That is celebrating 1 year on December 23rd.
Right.
Sarah W. And she's watching. I'm sure she's watching today. She watches every week, she said.
Congratulations.
And Sarah W., 1 year almost on the 23rd. I know we'll probably have another show before then. Mike will probably be doing the show. But I want to wish you
anniversary. Nice.
Anniversary. Happy anniversary. So.
Wonderful.
And then, of course, we always want to thank Taylor for having us here. Genesis House.
Couldn't do it without him.
Great sponsor. They're a wonderful, wonderful program. You know them, Mike. Yep. You use them, and we couldn't do the show without them. And what more can I say except if you need some help, get a hold of one of us here on the panel, or reach out to Genesis House.
Yeah, Genesis House is without a doubt a first-class operation. There are a lot of recovery programs out there. You can find them starting from AA all the way to Z. But to get serious, and you want to get well, and you want to get off whatever you're on, whatever substance you're entertaining, and you want to get sober, it's a great place. And I know firsthand, many people I've known and loved and cared about have gone to Genesis House, and very, very good success rate. Yeah,
we get people from all over the country. So if you're even watching this in Toronto, Canada, or if you're in California or St. Paul, Minnesota, we get people from all those places.
Sure.
It's a great place, and I'm very proud to be an employee there, a long-term employee, been there for 14 years.
Sure.
A lot of our employees been there a long time.
Right.
I mean, we have long-term employees there that just love to help out. So
very important.
Reach out to Mike or myself. Mike always gives his number out, and
Yep, it's 978-833-0187. 978-833-0197. And call me anytime, 24/7. Also, Genesis number shows up on the screen throughout the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll get that
and my cell phone number, you guys can reach me too, 215-694-1994. So we got that out of the way. So now, if you do relapse, Genesis House would be a great place to go.
A great place.
Hopefully you're not. Hopefully
right.
you're watching this show and your sobriety's strong and you're doing
right.
everything that you're supposed to be doing to get through the holidays. But Mike, what are some of the things that somebody might do or might not do to relapse, to end up back at Genesis House?
Well, I think a lot of people. I've been around a while, and I've heard people say relapse is part of recovery, and I have to agree with that. It's not a good part of recovery, but it is part of recovery. I think if you took 100 people that had 10 years sobriety, and you took those 100 people, and if they all started on the same day, 10 years prior to their 10 years of recovery, I would say that a large percentage of them would have had some relapses along the way. However, relapse is not a necessity. It's not a requirement to get sober.
No.
The goal is not to relapse.
Nope.
The goal is to, go to meetings, ask for help, find a sponsor, use the phone. If you're not into spirituality or praying, fine, don't.
Yep.
But if you are, it's a good thing to ask for help. Whoever your higher power is, doesn't matter. You can pray to the ocean. It doesn't matter. I mean, you got to believe that somebody more important in this universe than you are, that has more knowledge, more depth, more understanding. Yeah. So it doesn't have to be a God of your understanding. It can be anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think that's important. And for myself, I went away 1986 and October 17th, 1986. And prior to that, I had relapsed many times. I had dumped booze out the window. I had thrown cocaine out the window. I'd buy some. I'd be so depressed. And at 3 in the morning, I'd be riding around. And I'd throw it out. And at 6 in the morning, I'd be back looking for it. It was just a crazy cycle. But when I finally went and got help, when I finally got 3, 4, 6, 7, 9 days of sobriety and started to feel human again, felt somewhat normal. It took a while, but I knew then that I had found something.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not a first-time winner. People who go through, we call them first-time winners that just get it and run with it. I was just telling somebody today, well, why Florida? Why go so far away? Why don't we stay closer? Well, when I went to my treatment program, it was almost in the same town that I lived in. It was a town next door. I was able to manipulate my wife at the time to come pick me up after 2 days of being in there, saying, I got this. Everything's good.
Right, of course.
And, of course, we drove right past the bar, and guess where I was?
Exactly.
Good old Johnny's pub in Boonton, New Jersey, drinking, and probably a pile full of coke at the end of the night, towards the end. And then it took me almost a year and a half to get back into treatment, but I lost a lot within that year and a half just relapsing,
Sure.
So I didn't take any suggestions, really. I just got out and just did what I had to do. I wasn't ready, I guess. But, relapse, like you and I were talking, relapse starts months, weeks, years sometimes before, if you don't go to meetings, if you're not talking to your sponsor, if you're not staying close to the program, if you don't pray, if you don't keep it, you got to keep it green to keep it clean.
Right.
Well, remember where you came from.
Absolutely. It says in the big book, I don't know exactly where, but it does say, and a good friend of mine, Jim.
Wait a minute. Don't you hate those guys that know the exact page, the exact paragraph, the exact verbiage?
I know a few.
How do they do that? Anyways.
But my friend,
we love you,
Jimmy K. This was a sentence that he took out of the big book that he's used many times, and it makes perfect sense. It says, first, the insanity of addiction returns, then we drink.
Yep.
And that's exactly how I see addiction. I saw it as complete insanity. If you walked out in the middle of the road and get hit by a car and got a broken hip, and then you got it repaired and you did it again and again and again and again, you'd have to either be completely out of your mind or you just you totally love pain.
Exactly.
So I think the insanity does return, and if I think people are this generation of people in recovery. Meetings don't seem to be what they used to be.
Yeah, I agree.
As far as people being there. And I think there's all types of alternatives. 32 years ago, there was very few alternatives. There was AA.
Yep.
NA was a brand new infancy program. I never went to NA because even though I'm a drug addict and an alcoholic, I just liked AA.
Yep.
But I see it now that I went to a meeting Sunday night, and it's just not the same. A lot of old timers there. And I think a lot of these younger addicts, alcoholics that are just coming around, they... I feel bad because I think they're being fooled to think that, you know, they don't need to go to so many meetings, you know, that 90 meetings in 90 days, it's almost a foolproof way to stay sober. Would you agree?
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean,
I remember always doing a 90 and 90. My sponsors, go do a 90 and 90. I'm like, again?
Yes,
like, come on. I'm like, really?
Exactly.
But that's what keeps you sober. You know, that's what keeps you sober.
There is magic in those halls. And, you know, I don't know what it is, but I know I run red lights. I'd do anything to get to a meeting. I wanted to get there. It was like my fix. I needed it.
Yeah, and that's definitely one way to keep relapse away. You know, the other thing I used to do when I lived in good old Sayreville, New Jersey, I used to go to the Step Beyond Club. Step Beyond Club would always have alkathons, we called them. I don't know if you remember those.
Sure.
Meetings 24 hours throughout either the Christmas day or and the New Year's Day, Thanksgiving. There would be food there. People would just be like a potluck. Everybody bring food, and you know, that's a good way. I remember I would sit at those meetings for hours. I would chair a meeting. I'd sit at the meeting. You know, I was a wreck in early recovery. My kids were being taken away from me. My ex-wife was divorcing me. I had no place to live. You know, and if I didn't stay close to those meetings, you know, and that is definitely one thing. The other thing too is a lot of holiday parties coming up.
Absolutely.
You know, you can make a decision not to go to your holiday party.
Right.
If you're new in recovery, if you don't feel comfortable, even if you have some time under your belt. And if you do go to parties, what do they always say? Take some phone numbers.
Right.
Take somebody with you from the program.
Right. Set a time limit.
Set a time limit. You know, so there's all different things that you can do to not to relapse at these parties. You know.
Yeah, my first few years of sobriety, actually the first 10 or 15 years, I didn't go to Christmas parties because when I used to go to them, it was just a time to get hammered. You know.
Yep.
So and then. The last several years, as I was looking at retirement, I knew I wasn't going to be seeing these guys and girls a lot, so I'd go, but I set a time limit. I'd go for an hour and a half. They'd have a Yankee swap with presents. I'd stay till the presents. The last present was given away, and I'd be out the door. You know, and honestly, I love the camaraderie. I love being around people that are having a good time. Drink away. I'm very fortunate. I don't know about yourself, Ed, but I don't have a desire to pick up a drink.
I don't either.
I'm very fortunate.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know where it went because I couldn't go hours before, but now I can. I go decades, but I'm just fortunate, and you know, I really thank my higher power for that. For that ability not to have a desire, not to have a craving, you know.
Yeah, I understand that. I definitely don't have any more desires. It's you know, it's been relieved. You know, that's one of the promises.
Yeah.
You know, if we work this program, that's one of the promises. Eventually, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly, it's relieved. But you know, it does get relieved if you do everything. Everything that you're asked to do.
It's freedom.
Especially where it's freedom. Freedom. Exactly. And getting a sponsor is another good way to stop getting into relapse
Absolutely.
mode.
It's a necessity.
Yeah, a lot of people, you know, you talk to them, we got a sponsor yet? Yeah, no, not yet. How long you been sober? Oh, over a year. You don't have a sponsor over a year? I mean, what have you been doing? You know,
you're on a tightrope.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you know,
you're exactly. But you know, the other thing too, New Year's is coming up, and that was always a tough time for me.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah, I would always have piles of cocaine and a lot of booze around, and you know, my house would be the party house and all that. But well, not now anymore. I'm old. I just stay home. I can't even make it to midnight. Jesus Christ. But we used to go to AA New Year's Eve parties.
Sure.
And, you know, we're in some kind of hall or something where there's no booze and all your sober friends around. So that's something you guys can look up, too, if you're looking for, you know, for whatchamacallit. Then the other thing, too, people might be relapsing and family members don't want to put them in before the new year into treatment or upset the apple cart. Don't wait. I'm telling you, you know, get them into treatment. Even though if they're going to be in treatment for Christmas and New Year's, that's probably the best Christmas present they can give you and you can give them. You know what I mean?
I had a conversation with a gentleman this morning. It was about 10:30, and good guy, great guy, a good friend of mine, and he has a son that's got some problems. And as soon as he saw me, he broke down. He said he was at work. He started crying, and I knew that something was going on. And he said, "I'd really like you to sit and talk to my son." I said, "I'd love to. Anytime you want." He says, "Well, I can't do it this week. We can't do it this week." I said, "Friday's a good day for me." "Well, we can't do an intervention Friday because we're all going up north to some, Polar Caves or Santa's Village or so." I forget what he said, but it was one of those. And I said, "He's going." He said, "Oh yeah, we're all going." He says, "But I don't want to ruin it." I'm thinking, if he makes it, who knows if he's going to make it? And I said, well, just let me just say this, if he's as active as you say he is, he's probably not going to have a good time.
Yeah.
I wouldn't wait. If you want me to come see him tonight or tomorrow, just call me. I mean, you know what I mean? You've done many interventions.
Oh, yeah.
You know how hard it is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And
if families are sometimes sicker than and I apologize to all families, but the families are sicker than the addict themselves because they don't want to upset the apple cart. Let me ask you this question. Probably going to answer it right. When is the right time for an intervention?
Immediately.
Yeah, immediately. But never. Never.
Right.
There's never a good time because it's always Sammy's birthday, Bobby's bar mitzvah, Harry's whatever. You know what I mean? Or the caves or the whatever it is. There's always an excuse for not sending somebody to treatment.
Right. And also, too, sometimes you got to get out of the way. I mean, I've been in recovery a long time. I had somebody very near and dear to me who I loved with all my heart. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I wasn't helping that person. I thought I was. I was living with him. And I still could not get to where it needed to go. So my friends, Ed and Jeff, had to say to me, hey, get out of the way. You're going to kill him with kindness. Mm-hmm. And you know what? They were right. You intervened. And, I have a master's degree in clinical social work. I'm a licensed alcohol drug counselor. I'm a sober man for over 30 years. And do you think I was being helpful? Absolutely not, because my heart was in the wrong place.
Yeah.
I was thinking with my heart, not with my head.
Yeah.
So I think it's important. We have so many options, either at Genesis House or through us sitting here. This is what we're about. We don't get paid to do this. We do this because we know what it's like to get sober. Ed comes from New Jersey, all right? He doesn't live down the street. I do. I live about 12 miles from here, but he comes from New Jersey to do this, and he does it, not begrudgingly, very, very jovial and happy. We can't wait to come do this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to give away what we have, to give away that gift of sobriety freely and openly and vigorously is because we have it.
Exactly.
And there's nothing. This is a life second to none.
It is.
We still have our problems. I'm sure you got your problems.
Absolutely. Probably got more problems now than I ever did, But the thing, and I always say this, and I always say it on the show, the problems come up, we tackle them, and we move on.
Right.
We don't hide them. We don't go drinking, and I'll take care of it, 3 weeks from now, or, none of that. And there were some tough times in recovery. I went through 2 divorces in recovery, and I didn't think that was supposed to happen, but it does, and it is what it is. It's called life on life's terms.
Right.
And the meetings and the sponsors and people like you get me through all that time. And just like everybody out there, you guys can get through it. You don't have to pick up a drink or a drug. The only thing it's going to do, it's going to fuck your life up. That's it. Nothing else. It's not. It's going to take you.
There's no future in it.
No, it's going to take you out of reality for that moment. Yeah. No doubt about it. You won't have that problem probably for an hour or two or the whole night, but it's going to be waiting for you. It'll be magnified at the other end. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We got a guy like Joe the hot dog guy. All right? Without a doubt, big heart, full of energy, always helping someone. I mean, I'm talking not once a day. I'm talking throughout the day, the entire day. I don't know how he functions.
I know.
I mean, he's doing stuff for himself, but it's really about other people.
Oh yeah.
And when I listen to a guy like him speak, I'm enthralled in what he's saying. I'm watching him. I watch his body language, and I think, wow, if this guy could get paid, to be given what he's given away, he'd be a wealthy man.
Yeah.
I mean, because he just gives it all away.
But he is a wealthy man because of his recovery.
That's right.
And there's nothing more. I mean, listen, it's nice that money helps with a lot of things, but it can't give you recovery. It can't give you, and it's not worth it. My sobriety is not worth $1 billion.
No.
If Donald Trump came to me and said, "Here's $1 billion," I'd have to pass if he wanted to go go have a drink with me.
Right.
I would definitely have to pass, you know.
Well,
No
the
doubt
Donald
about it.
doesn't drink. Just remember.
The Donald does not drink. That's right. Let's not get
Thank God.
Let's not get political. I know we'd all be in trouble. Anyways, we don't want to go there.
We're not too far from Massachusetts, so be careful. People will be waiting for you out there.
I know.
You start liking the Donald, it'll be all over you.
God. Well, I do. But
Yeah, I do too. Well,
now, did we lose half our viewers now?
yeah, probably. But, well, recovery is such an intricate part of our lives, and we're very fortunate. But, to think about how hard it was in the beginning, the sickness, the not sleeping, the anxieties, the panic attacks, the stone cold freaking out in the market, on the highway, driving, waking up in the middle of the night, afraid to go back to sleep because you didn't think you were going to make it through the night. Your heart was beating so fast. All that subsides.
You must have liked cocaine.
Oh man! But I'm just saying that when you get this gift of freedom and sobriety, you know what? Nothing can replace it. It is a gift second to none. It's a lifestyle second to none. Because we didn't know what it was about.
No, we had no idea what this life would bring us. We knew what the other life would bring us. It would bring us jails, institution, and probably death more than likely. We knew that.
Sure.
And here it's just like one great gift after another. Waking up without I'm in my 50s. I couldn't imagine waking up with a hangover today. I just couldn't.
Right.
I just, you know what I mean? And,
me neither.
It just or just dealing with being at a bar all night and then I always thought about like when we get my next pile of cocaine from or my next drink from. I don't worry about that anymore. I don't have to worry about that. I remember going on vacation and wondering, all right, if we stop here, I can drink, then I can my wife drive and blah blah blah. And all that stuff.
A lot of planning.
Too much planning. Yeah. So.
Well, here we are.
Yeah.
22 minutes.
22 minutes. We're doing good.
Yep.
We did good.
Yep.
Relapse is the key for today.
Yeah.
If you're afraid of relapsing or if you're on the verge of it or if you did, please get a hold of one of us here because we can help you out, steer you in the right direction, or even you just want to talk to us, if you're afraid. Call us for pointers if you're going to a party in the next couple weeks. You got holiday parties coming up. You got your Christmas parties, your whatever parties, and New Year's. Call us. We'll be more than happy to help you and talk to you how to get some help. You know.
And don't be afraid. The biggest thing you got to remember if you want to get sober is, you have to surrender. And it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
And you know what? Come with us. Give it a try. Try it for 90 days. If you don't like it, guarantee you we'll refund your misery.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. As you walk out the door, you'll get it all back.
All back. All right, Ed. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Yep, Mike. Yep.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody. Stay sober.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Café, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.